Walt Disney World has some of the most iconic places like Cinderella's Castle, Spaceship Earth at Epcot. You finally decided that you wanted to go to Walt Disney World. You want to know how to book your vacation. We're going to break down all the steps for you in this video. So if you're looking for a video that pretty much breaks everything down for you and it tells you how to plan your Walt Disney World vacation, look no further. We're going to break it all down for you here. We're going to talk about budgeting. We're going to talk about the best time of the year to go depending on your size of family. We're going to talk about staying on-site or off-site, dining, purchasing park merchandise at the parks versus buying it online, memory maker, magic bands, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the transportation from Orlando International Airport. If you guys are new here and you like the content, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, as it helps me a ton trying to hit 1,000 subs. If you want to do me a solid, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button as well. Let's talk about budgeting, and this is probably the most interesting topic that I see people talking about is when they're originally planning your vacation is budgeting. Me, I do things a little bit differently. I have an idea of what's going to be too much because I know just about what around I can afford. Anything that's usually like your package will include your resort and your tickets. That's what your Disney World package is going to include. If you add memory maker on there ahead of time, it'll cost you $169 on top of it. We'll talk about memory maker later on. This is kind of like the base of your vacation here. So you're going to have all your tickets. So let's say, for example, you wanted to go to Disney World for a week, 7 days. You obviously want to take 2 days out for traveling, getting there, and leaving. So you're going to have 5 park days. So your resort check-in from day 1 to day 7, and all 5 of your park days would be included in the package. I'm assuming you would add memory maker to it, so extra $169. All that stuff is kind of included, and what I kind of look at as far as budgeting is if I know if this package by itself goes over a certain amount, then I can't afford it. Then we need to, look at something differently. So you really want to have a budget. I think right around the average is like anything over $5,000 is very, very, very expensive, because when you're trying to figure in all the other costs that, Disney doesn't really include, and you're just like, oh, Disney World, you got to think about your transportation. How are you getting to Disney World? Are you flying? Are you driving? Catching a train, bus, whatever your means of transportation are going to be. 98% of people fly to Disney World. They fly into Orlando International Airport. It is one of the largest tourist airports in the country. So you got to think about all those little things. So you can figure out what your budget's really going to be as far as that goes. Like I said, if you can keep it under $5,000, then you're going to save yourself a lot of time and a lot of money, and usually you can keep it under $5,000 depending on the time of year that you go, which is what we're going to get into next. Disney World's peak season for the highest crowds is after Christmas. If you're taking a family and you really feel adamant about wanting to take a Disney World trip during the Christmas time, then by all means, and if you feel like you can really deal with the crowds. But a lot of times during these times after Christmas, the parks will officially reach capacity, which means you'll be elbow and shoulder to shoulder with everybody. It's completely insane. Before the 2020 closures, Disney World, you would have to have a dining reservation or have memory maker to be able to get into the park if it, had reached capacity. But now Disney World has this thing called Park Pass reservation system where they can kind of control how many people are getting into the park and out of the park. And it kind of alleviates the stress of buying a park ticket for that day but not being able to get access to the park. When you buy your package and after you make your initial deposit, you'll be told that you can go ahead and make your Park Pass reservations. This is to ensure that you're able to get into the parks on the days that you want to get into the parks. They're very easily. You just go on to the Disney website, to the My Disney Experience app. You go into My Plans. After you go into My Plans, you go to Park Pass Reservations, you click on it, you click on the date you're going to the park, and then you select your park and hit Submit. That will secure, you can select everyone that's in your party during that day, or if it's just one person going to one park and 3 people going to another park, you can do that as well. But definitely recommend getting that done as soon as possible just to make sure, especially if you're going in the later part of December. I'm going this December, and I made my deposit last month in September, and I made my park pass reservations for all my days there just to make sure that I get into the days that I wanted to get into. If you wait to the last minute, to the couple days before, there's a good chance that a lot of these parks are going to be sold out, and there could be a good chance that you will not be able to get into any of the parks depending on which day you're going, especially on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is usually completely booked up and sold out when it comes to Magic Kingdom, because everybody likes going to Magic Kingdom for New Year's Eve, which is why I went ahead and did that stuff early. Let's look at other busy times of the year. Is going to be summer. So after school's out, everyone goes on summer vacation. The prices during this time are also high, just like they are in December. They're really, really high. They're higher in December because more people go. In the summer, you got a pretty good sized crowd. Crowds are pretty high, so the prices are going to be pretty moderate during that time. You've got your spring break season, which is kind of the same thing, which lasts for about a month or so. So definitely try to avoid those 3 times of the years is usually, or if there's a special event going on, like yesterday was the 40th anniversary at Epcot. Okay, that place reached capacity. It was full. It was completely slam punk. Or if you have a new ride opening up or something like that. Low peak times are usually the beginning of January into the middle of February. You might have a weekend for Martin Luther King weekend where you might get a little bit seeing access and crowd levels. Before or after spring break is also a really good time. The month of May, really, really decent time. Also, the end of August into the latter part of September is actually really good. But you also have Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party going on during that time. So just kind of keep that in mind. Once you get into October, then you're getting into closer to Halloween, so you're going to start seeing an uptick in crowd levels a little bit, especially at those Halloween parties. They're going to start selling out during those times. Thanksgiving, the beginning part of November, not too bad. Right around Thanksgiving gets pretty insane, pretty nuts, because kids are out of school for that, so they're going to migrate to Walt Disney World. The first couple of weeks of December, you see pretty fairly low crowds, but it's that second half of December that is really kind of really pretty insane. Let's talk about staying on site or staying off site. A lot of people like to weigh the pros and cons, but if I stay off site at just a regular hotel, then I'll be saving thousands of dollars compared to booking a Disney-owned resort hotel there on Disney World property. There are a lot of benefits that the Disney World resort hotels offer that you will not get staying off-site. Disney, if you're wanting to save a few dollars because you don't want to pay, to stay at, for an example, you don't want to stay at Pop Century or the Contemporary because it's $400 or $500 a night. So you're like, okay, I can just stay at a hotel that's not on Disney World property and save a lot of money. Disney World has these things called good neighborhood hotels. They are not Disney resorts, but they are like good neighbor hotels, and they still offer a lot of the perks that Disney World resort hotels offer. One of the best traits that Disney World resort hotels offer is early theme park entry and extended evening hours. The extended evening hours only applies to deluxe hotel resorts. So if you're staying at somewhere like the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, the Riviera, any Disney Vacation Club resort, anything that's going to be a deluxe resort, the Boardwalk Villas, all that stuff, you're going to get extended theme park hours. The early theme park entry applies to all Disney World resort guests. So if you're staying at the value resorts, the moderate, the deluxe, it doesn't matter. As long as you're in that area, then you will get early theme park entry. A lot of the Disney World neighboring hotels will offer the same thing. You'll have the same perks, and you'll still be able to get into them. If you stay on like B Resort and Spa, the Four Seasons, Hilton, okay, all of these hotels will offer also for early theme park entry. The one thing that the certain resorts offer is complimentary transportation, and that applies to every single resort on Disney World property. And if you happen to get a rent-a-car, you will have to pay for parking at your resort, but you will not have to pay for parking when you go to the parks. When you go up to the parks, they'll scan your Magic Band, they'll see you're at a resort, they'll tell you to go on by. That's just how that works. We did drive one day during our trip this past September. We were there for 9 days. We only drove one day because the Disney complimentary transportation, if you're staying on property, is probably the best form of transportation. When we go next year, we definitely will not be getting a rent-a-car because it's just a waste of money. Because if we're going to be spending our entire vacation on Disney World property and going to the Disney parks there, there's just no reason to have a rent-a-car. A lot of the good things is at some of the hotels like the Pop Century, Art of Animation, Caribbean Beach Resort, the Riviera, all of them have Skyliner Access, which will allow you to take the Skyliner, which is a gondola system, from those resorts to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. I can't speak for Art of Animation, but I do know at Pop this past month, when those parks were, available, you couldn't take a bus there. You could only take the Skyliner. But the Skyliner wait times can sometimes get a little bit strenuous. So just kind of keep that in mind. The best time of the longest lines for these Skyliners are going to be early in the mornings and at park closing. That's going to be the longest line because people are trying to get to the park for early theme park entry, and people are trying to leave the park and get back to the resort as quickly as possible. Usually these lines are managed fairly well depending on where you're going. They usually book up the Skyliners, to try to fit as many people in there to move the lines as fast as they can. So just keep that in mind. If you're staying off-site, you will not have access to any of these early theme park entry. You'll have to pay for parking at the park, which is pretty expensive if you're going for an extended period of time. When you think about, the money you're going to be shelling out for driving, because at Disney World, time is money. So if you're staying at a hotel that's, let's just use an example, over there by SeaWorld Orlando. All right, it's going to take you probably about 30 to 40 minutes to drive to the Magic Kingdom. Let's just assume you're going to Magic Kingdom that day. And then once you drive into Magic Kingdom, you pay for parking, then you go park. Then you realize, oh man, I'm not at the Magic Kingdom. I'm at the Transportation and Ticket Center. So what you have to do is you have to catch a ferry boat from the Transportation and Ticket Center or a monorail to the Magic Kingdom. So you sit there and you've spent at least an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, just getting to the park. We're not talking about even going through security and waiting in the line to get into the park. So you've sat there, let's just roughly say about 2 to 2.5 hours from driving. Where if you were staying on property and you had caught a bus, you would have gotten off right at the park entrance and you could have just got off the bus, walked up there, and you would have been there at the park. So the Disney complimentary transportation is definitely really, really good when it comes to staying on site or staying off site. There is a new hotel that is off Disney property. It's not considered on Disney property, but if you were really wanting to stay on site, it's fairly cheap. I think it's right around December. It's about $199 a month. So during these slow peak times, it's going to be a lot cheaper. And Magic Kingdom is like 5 minutes away, and this hotel offers a shuttle there where you can get access to all 4 theme parks from there, because all you have to do is walk across the street to the Contemporary, and then you can use their transportation system to get anywhere you want to Disney Springs, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, anywhere you want to go. You want to go to Disney Springs, then you can use their transportation system that they have at the Contemporary to be able to navigate that. That's why we always try to stay on site. A lot of things that I'm not sure if some people think about is when it comes to dining. Dining is one of the things that racks up money really, really fast. And everybody hears about and sees these character dining opportunities where they get to sit there like Chef Mickey's and the Garden Grill at Epcot. And then you've also got the Hollywood and Vine at Hollywood Studios and Ohana at the Polynesian Village. All of these character dining resorts are really, really cool, and they're really fascinating, and they're such a great experience, especially for the smaller kids. But these things tend to rack up money really, really fast. you're talking about paying at least $45 per adult and probably about $35 per child. This is just an estimate. I'm just guessing off the top of my head. I'm doing one character dining in December, and I think it's costing me tax and gratuity and all about $60. And that's just for one person. So if you have a family of four, that racks up really, really fast. And that's just for one meal. That's not accounting, the rest of your meals if you're going to be using quick service or whatever. Um, if you were trying to plan for your dining, I would probably try to assume about $100 per day as far as dining goes per person. Me and Asher, my 3-year-old, we went there. I think we spent, when we did not do table service meals, we spent about $50 between the two of us, but we were sharing our meal. So if it's two adults, you're going to spend probably close to $100 each day. So just keep that in mind. If finances really isn't a problem and you just want to go all out on your vacation and do one sit-down meal each day, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do something in the park. Magic Kingdom has a few good places. They've got the Be Your Guest restaurant, Cinderella's Royal Table, the Plaza. All of these things you can just really enjoy the sit down to get a break from the crowds, get into AC, actually enjoy you a meal. But I would definitely recommend trying to get reservations 60 days out because a lot of these times, depending on the times of year that you're going, if you enter the standby line and you kind of wait to see if someone canceled, you're not guaranteed to be able to get into that restaurant. But if you make your reservation 60 days out and then you finally get to the park and realize that you really don't want to eat there, then you can just cancel the reservation and they'll just charge you a little $10 fee for it. Not a big deal. And then you can just go get you to Casey's Corners, get you some of those famous hot dogs. So it's just really, really good. Let's talk about merchandise. If you've seen on YouTube or Facebook or other social media platforms a lot of merchandise that you like, that you want to buy, and you know exactly what you're going to buy for your trip, the best thing to do to save yourself a lot of headache and a lot of money is to check the Shop Disney website to see if the merchandise you want from the parks is on their website. It'll save you a lot of money. It'll be shipped directly to your home, so you don't have to worry about having extra room coming home for all your merchandise. You can get anything from magic bands to Mickey ears to backpacks. Anything that you can think of is on the website. And if you're getting it for a special time of the year, say a birthday, anniversary, or wedding coming up or anything, Disney can, for like an extra $6.99, they'll gift wrap it, and you can personalize a message to put into the card for it for just an extra $6 or $7. So not really a bad deal. A lot of stuff that we were going to buy at the parks before we left in September, we bought on Shop Disney and had it shipped to the house. The one things that I would recommend buying before your trip is the bubble wands. The bubble wands are probably famous among all kids. Every kid sees it and wants one because the bubble wands at Disney World, they light up and they throw bubbles everywhere. I would recommend getting you one off of Disney Shop prior to your trip, and then packing it into your check bags at the airport and making sure, that you've got it packed where it doesn't get smashed or anything. And once you get to Disney World, you can take it out of your check bags and give it to your child. You're going to save yourself a lot of money because these bubble wands usually run between $30 and $40. And you can go to the website and you can get it for not half of that, but you're definitely going to save you about $10 or $15 getting it online. Depending on how you want to get your shipping. You can use this a lot, especially with the Magic Band Pluses. I will say when it comes to the Magic Band Pluses, though, that Walt Disney World will have a larger selection, especially in the parks and on the resort shopping areas. If you're staying at Pop Century, you go into Everything Pop, you're going to see there's a big, big selection of Magic Band Pluses there. When you go to the Emporium at Magic Kingdom, they have a special selection. Now, I want to remind you that you're only allowed to, as of now, you're only allowed to buy 2 per person. So if you have 2 people, you can buy up to 4, get them for your whole group. So just kind of keep that in mind. Memory Maker. If you really want to save money on your vacation, you don't want to spend the extra $169, that's fine. We got Memory Maker on our trip this past September, and we took advantage of it every chance we get. We took $169, so we were like, we're going to get $169 worth of pictures. So every chance we got, we saw a photo op, we took a picture. Every ride we got on, we got every single ride photo. You can digitally download them, and people was like, yeah, but I want the physical printout right then and there. I'm going to tell you what you do to save yourself a lot of time and a lot of money. If you get the memory maker, you can get every single photo there. And then wait until you get home, and then go to your local Walmart or photo area, and you can spend literally less than $10 to print out the photos that you like the most. Okay. If you go to Disney World, you're going to be paying $20 to $25 per photo. It's better to get the memory maker because you get all of your photos, and then you can go back home and you can get them printed out, like I said, at Walmart or any photo area place, CVS, Walgreens. It's going to cost you a lot cheaper than buying it there at Walt Disney World. Memory maker is something we will always get because we just enjoy it. If you don't want to pay for memory maker, you don't have to. You can easily just hand your phone to a cast member and they will take your picture. There are a lot of the character experiences and character meet and greets that don't have PhotoPass there, so they'll ask for your phone to take your picture with the characters. And this is especially at character dinings. There aren't any PhotoPasses at the character dining, so you got to take it with your phone. So you can always just scrap the memory maker and use your phone and hand it to the cast member, which they will gladly take your picture for you. It's not a big deal. Let's talk about magic bands. Magic bands are the probably main source of currency. It's your room key if you're staying on property. You can make purchases. You can charge things to your hotel. Your PhotoPass is tied to it. Your lightning lanes, if you have Disney Genie Plus, that's in a different video. All of that is going to be tied to your Magic Band. Now, I know it's probably going to say, well, what about Magic Band Plus? Half of my trip, I used the regular Magic Band. The second half of my trip, I used Magic Band Plus. I think this coming December, I'm going to do right around the same thing. I'm going to kind of go half and half. The first half of the trip was kind of less stressful. The second half of the trip was pretty chaotic because of the crowds and stuff, and a lot of our stuff was on the weekends. The only downside I can say to Magic Band Plus is when you're in Magic Kingdom and you're walking around all of these statues, the thing just seems to go haywire and start vibrating randomly out of nowhere because you're close to a statue, whereas the regular Magic Band will not. I really invested in a Magic Band Plus just for the design of the Magic Band. That's why I really enjoyed it. So just kind of keep that in mind. If your Magic Band dies and you don't have access to really interact with the statues and stuff, or the Bounty Hunter game there at Hollywood Studios, your Magic Band Plus will still act as a normal Magic Band. You'll still be able to get into your room. You'll still be able to get your lightning lane, still be able to get your PhotoPass and all that stuff. But once the battery dies, you just won't be able to do those extracurricular things with those. So I do believe that once you make your deposit, they'll ask you to go purchase your Magic Bands and link your Magic Bands to your account. If you go through a travel agent, then the travel agent will ask you once you get your Magic Band in to take a picture of it and send it to them so they can link your Magic Band to your account. A lot of questions everyone's asked: how do I get from Orlando International Airport? How do I get from Disney World from Orlando International Airport now that the Magical Express is gone? Disney World offers a few good services. The number one thing is Mears. Mears is it's a shuttle service where it's like $16 per adult, and I think kids are free, or it's the other way around. Sunshine Flyer, it's kind of like the same thing, where you pay a small fee and they'll carry you from Orlando International Airport to your Disney World Resort. Now, if you're in a hurry, like we were this past September, our flight landed at 2 o'clock. We had a dining reservation at 5:30, and we had to pick up our stroller at 3. So we had to get to the resort in a fairly quick manner. We use what they call Mears Express. Mears Express is an express service where they'll pick you up in a car, and they will personally drive you from the hotel, from the international airport, directly to your resort. No stops in between, nothing like that. If you take the shuttle service, they're going to go on to Walt Disney World property, and whatever stops is on the way, you get to your resort when you just get there. They're going to make stops periodically at this resort, at that resort, until you finally get to the one that you're going to. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're kind of crunched for time and you really need to get there because you got to pick up your stroller, you got a dining reservation, you got a park reservation for that day, you want to make the most of your day, so you're just going to get there as fast as you can so you can get into the parks, then I would definitely recommend using the Mears Express, as it's probably going to be the go-to for something like that. I don't think Sunshine Flyer offers that. There are a lot of other opportunities around the Orlando area that offer that. There's a bunch of them. There's Magical Tours, which is what we were originally going to use before we swapped over to Mears Express, and they offer the same thing. They'll help you with your luggage. They're really, really nice. They're really cool. So, and they can usually answer any questions you have about, Disney World. They'll kind of make you feel special if it's your first time. It was a great experience, and definitely something we'll be doing again next year. Well, man, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys have any questions about anything, please let me know down below in the comments. And without any further ado, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.